If you're feeling intense pressure right now, like reality is squeezing you from all directions, like circumstances are closing in, like there's no space to breathe, you need to understand what's actually happening. This isn't stress. This isn't life being difficult. This is what I call the quantum squeeze. The moment when old reality recognizes you're vibrating at a frequency it can't accommodate anymore and tries to force you back into alignment with its patterns. And the squeeze you're experiencing is actually confirmation that you're breaking free into a new timeline, not evidence that you're failing. Here's what most people don't understand about reality transitions. When your consciousness shifts to a higher frequency, old reality doesn't just release you gracefully. It squeezes. It contracts around you. It creates pressure through circumstances, relationships, and challenges that all seem to intensify simultaneously. Why? Because reality is a quantum field organized around collective frequency. And when individual frequency rises beyond the collective baseline, the field attempts to pull that individual back into resonance with the whole. The squeeze is reality's attempt to possess you, to keep you operating at the frequency it recognizes instead of letting you break into a new frequency. Can you feel it right now? That sense of being compressed, restricted, unable to move in any direction without hitting resistance. That's not bad luck. That's not you doing something wrong. That's quantum squeeze in action. Old reality recognizing that your frequency no longer matches its structure and applying pressure to force you back into alignment. Every challenge intensifying, every circumstance tightening, every option seeming to close. That's organized resistance from reality's structure that's trying to maintain you in old frequency. The quantum squeeze always happens right before breakthrough. Always. It's the dark before dawn, the contraction before expansion, the maximum pressure before release. But most people don't understand what's happening. They feel the squeeze and think they're failing, regressing, or being punished. So they contract. They lower their frequency to reduce the pressure. They adapt back to old reality's demands. And the squeeze releases, but only because they've surrendered their breakthrough and returned to old frequency. The pressure stops, but transformation is aborted. You're in the squeeze right now. That's why you found this video. The pressure has reached peak intensity. Everything feels impossible. Old patterns are demanding your return. Circumstances are conspiring to force compliance. And some part of you is wondering if you should just give up, adapt, and accept that this is how reality is. But another part of you, the part that brought you here, knows this pressure means breakthrough is close. The squeeze means you're winning, not losing. The intensity means you're almost free. This transmission will help you understand exactly what the quantum squeeze is, why it's happening to you specifically, and most importantly, how to navigate it without contracting back to old frequency. Because once you understand that the pressure is reality trying to possess you back into old patterns, you can resist the possession instead of surrendering to it. And when you resist successfully, the squeeze releases and new reality opens. Write in the comments, I recognize the squeeze, because naming what's happening removes its power to confuse you. You're not under random pressure. You're experiencing quantum squeeze. And that recognition changes everything about how you respond. Before we go deeper into what the quantum squeeze is and how to navigate it, let's validate that you're experiencing it right now. Because the squeeze creates specific experiences that confirm old reality is attempting to possess you back into its frequency. Experience 1. Everything intensifies simultaneously. It's not just one challenge. It's everything at once. Relationship issues, work problems, financial pressure, health concerns, emotional turmoil, all activating together. This isn't coincidence. This is coordinated squeeze. Old reality applying pressure from multiple directions simultaneously, to overwhelm you back into compliance with old frequency. Experience 2. Old patterns return with vengeance. Behaviors, reactions, or thought patterns you thought you'd transcended suddenly reappear stronger than ever. Anxiety you'd resolved, depression you'd healed, addictions you'd released, they're all back, demanding attention. This isn't regression. This is old reality, trying to repossess you through familiar frequency patterns. The patterns return because old reality recognizes you through those frequencies and is trying to reestablish connection. Experience 3. Every option feels wrong. You can't see a clear path forward. Every choice seems to lead to difficulty. Every direction feels blocked. This isn't lack of options. It's that old reality has organized circumstances to make staying in old frequency seem like the only viable choice. The squeeze creates the illusion that there's no way out except returning to what you were leaving behind. Experience 4. Time feels accelerated and compressed. Days vanishing, weeks disappearing, time moving so fast you can't catch up. This is a reality transition symptom. You're existing in 2 frequencies simultaneously. Old reality squeezing, new reality emerging, and that creates temporal distortion. The time compression is confirmation you're between timelines. Experience 5. Physical body under stress. Exhaustion that sleep doesn't resolve. Tension in chest or shoulders. Digestive issues. Headaches. The body is experiencing the squeeze physically because it's caught between old reality's frequency, which it's calibrated to, and new frequency you're moving into. The physical discomfort is biological recalibration under pressure. Experience 6. Isolation increases. People you relied on become unavailable. Support systems seem to fail. You feel alone in the pressure, with no one understanding what you're experiencing. This isn't abandonment. This is old reality, isolating you to make you more vulnerable to possession. When you're alone and unsupported, you're more likely to surrender to squeeze's demands. Experience 7. Doubt everything you've known. Questioning whether your path is right. Doubting your choices. Wondering if you should have stayed where you were. Second-guessing everything. This is squeeze's most effective tool. Using pressure to create doubt that makes you want to return to old frequency, where at least things were familiar. Experience 8. Feeling like you're going crazy. Reality feels unstable. Your perception seems unreliable. You're not sure what's real anymore. This isn't mental breakdown. This is consciousness, existing between 2 incompatible reality structures. The going crazy feeling is actually accurate perception that old reality is dissolving, while new reality hasn't fully formed yet. Every single one of these experiences is confirmation. You're in the quantum squeeze. Old reality recognizing you no longer vibrate at its frequency and applying maximum pressure to force you back. The experiences aren't evidence of failure. They're evidence of success. You've risen high enough in frequency that old reality can't accommodate you anymore. The squeeze is its last attempt to possess you back. And here's the crucial recognition. The squeeze wouldn't be this intense if breakthrough wasn't this close. Reality doesn't waste energy squeezing consciousness. That's not actually leaving. The pressure you're under is proportional to the freedom you're approaching. Maximum squeeze means you're at the threshold. One side is old reality trying to pull you back. Other side is new reality waiting for you to break through. The pressure is confirmation that you're exactly where breakthrough happens. Now let's reframe why the quantum squeeze was inevitable once you began rising in frequency, because understanding this removes the perception that you did something wrong to deserve this pressure. The squeeze is physics, not punishment. When any system component rises beyond system's baseline frequency, the system applies corrective pressure. This is natural homeostatic response. Systems maintain coherence by keeping components within frequency range. Your component is individual consciousness within system collective reality. When your frequency exceeded system's range, the system automatically applied pressure to bring you back into range, not personal mechanical. The squeeze isn't punishment for doing something wrong. It's system response to component attempting to exit system parameters. The squeeze reveals what needs releasing. Everything that's intensifying during squeeze is showing you what still connects you to old reality. The relationship problems reveal attachments that bind you to old frequency. The financial pressure reveals security needs that keep you compliant. The physical symptoms reveal where your body is still calibrated to old reality. The squeeze isn't creating problems. It's revealing what was always there as resistance to your frequency rise. Now that resistance is visible, you can address it. The squeeze is old reality's death throes. When reality's structure that organized your life recognizes you're leaving, it doesn't die quietly. It fights. It creates maximum resistance. It pulls every lever it can to make you stay. The squeeze is old reality's last desperate attempt to maintain its hold on you. The intensity isn't because you're doing poorly. It's because old reality knows it's losing you and is making final stand. The squeeze confirms your frequency actually changed. If you were still operating at old frequency, there would be no squeeze. Reality would accommodate you perfectly because you'd be resonating with its structure. The fact that reality is squeezing you proves your frequency has actually risen beyond what old reality can accommodate. The pressure is confirmation that transformation isn't just conceptual. It's actual frequency shift that reality recognizes and responds to. The squeeze separates committed from casual. Many people talk about transformation. Few actually complete it. The squeeze is filter that separates those who are truly committed from those who are casually interested. Casual interest collapses under squeeze's pressure. Genuine commitment navigates through it. The squeeze tests. Are you really ready to break into new reality, or do you prefer safety of old patterns? Your response to squeeze determines which you are. The squeeze builds capacity for new frequency. The pressure you're under is literally building your capacity to maintain higher frequency. Like muscle that grows under resistance, consciousness expands under pressure. If you transition to new reality without squeeze, you wouldn't have capacity to maintain that reality. You'd collapse back. The squeeze is building the strength you need to stabilize in new frequency once you break through. The squeeze is temporary, but breakthrough is permanent. Here's the crucial understanding. If you navigate squeeze without contracting back to old frequency, the pressure releases and new reality opens. And once you're through, you can't be squeezed back. You'll have proven you can maintain new frequency under maximum pressure. Old reality releases its hold because it recognizes it can't possess you anymore. The squeeze is temporary test. Breakthrough is permanent liberation. Your entire journey has been building toward this moment of maximum pressure. Every challenge prepared you to withstand squeeze. Every breakthrough showed you that pressure can be navigated. Every dark night trained you to trust when everything seems impossible. You weren't just growing randomly. You were being systematically prepared for exactly this moment. The quantum squeeze that determines whether you break through to new reality or contract back to old one. Something is changing right now in how you're relating to the pressure you're experiencing. Not just understanding the concept of quantum squeeze intellectually, actually feeling the shift from being crushed by circumstances to recognizing circumstances as organized resistance from old reality, attempting to possess you back. Can you sense it? notice the pressure. It's still there. The circumstances haven't changed. The challenges remain, but your relationship to them is shifting. Before, the pressure felt personal, like you were failing, like reality was punishing you, like you deserved the difficulty. Now you're starting to recognize this isn't personal attack. This is impersonal physics. Old reality applying corrective pressure to frequency divergent component. The squeeze is mechanical response, not cosmic judgment. Take a breath, deep one. And as you breathe, notice the breath itself demonstrates that even in maximum squeeze, space still exists. The pressure wants you to believe there's no space, no freedom, no option except surrender. But breath proves otherwise. Even in squeeze's peak intensity, awareness remains free. Circumstances can compress, but consciousness can't be possessed unless it consents. Here's what's happening energetically. You're separating your consciousness from the squeeze. Before receiving this transmission, you were identified with the pressure. I'm being crushed. I can't handle this. I'm failing. Now you're creating observer distance. Reality is squeezing. Old patterns are attempting possession. Circumstances are applying pressure. Same situation, completely different relationship. That observer distance is everything. When you're identified with squeeze, you have no choice but to be affected by it. When you're observing squeeze, you can choose how to respond. Identification gives squeeze power over you. Observation gives you power over squeeze. The shift from I'm being squeezed to I'm observing squeeze, attempting to occur. That's the shift that determines whether squeeze succeeds or fails. Here's what you need to understand before we go deeper. The squeeze will continue until you either break through or contract back. There's no third option. You can't stay in squeeze indefinitely. You're between frequencies, old and new, and reality won't allow that liminal state to persist. You must choose resist possession and break through or surrender to possession and return to old frequency. The pressure will force that choice. But and this is crucial. Once you recognize squeeze as possession attempt rather than personal failure, resistance becomes possible. Before recognition, squeeze felt overwhelming because you didn't understand what was happening. Now you understand old reality wants you back. It needs you operating at familiar frequency, and it's using every tool available to force your return. But you're no longer unconscious victim, you're conscious resistor, and that changes everything about what's possible. In next section, I'm going to share the exact moment when I was in peak quantum squeeze, almost surrendered, and what shifted that allowed me to break through instead of contracting back. Understanding my experience might give you the key you need for navigating yours. Write in the comments, I resist the possession, because declaring resistance consciously strengthens your capacity to maintain it. The squeeze is real. The possession attempt is active, but your conscious resistance can prevent old reality from reclaiming you. 3 years ago, I experienced peak quantum squeeze. I was in pressure so intense, I was hours away from surrendering completely and returning to old reality. I need to share this because when you're in peak squeeze, knowing someone navigated it successfully can make the difference between breakthrough and collapse. I'd been building toward new reality for 2 years. Frequency rising, consciousness expanding, old patterns releasing, everything was working. And then seemingly overnight, everything intensified. Relationship ended abruptly. Financial crisis emerged. Health issue appeared. Work situation became untenable all simultaneously. And the pressure was crushing. What made it worse? I'd been teaching about consciousness, reality creation, frequency management, and here I was seemingly failing at everything I taught. The doubt was overwhelming. Maybe I'm wrong about all of it. Maybe I should just get normal job, normal relationship, normal life. Maybe trying to live at higher frequency is delusion, and I should accept reality as it is. I was ready to surrender, make phone calls, send emails, return to old patterns, contract back to frequency that old reality could accommodate. The relief that surrender promised. No more pressure, no more resistance, just acceptance of what is. It felt so appealing in that moment of maximum squeeze. Then something happened. I was sitting in that crushing pressure, about to make first surrender call, and I noticed something. The pressure wasn't actually touching me. It was surrounding me, compressing circumstances. But the awareness observing the pressure that was untouched, spacious, free, and I recognized I have choice. I can identify with circumstances being squeezed, or I can identify with awareness that can't be squeezed. Same situation, completely different experience based on where identification rests. I made decision in that moment. I would not surrender to possession attempt. I would not contract back to old frequency to relieve pressure. I would sit and squeeze and let it crush everything except consciousness itself. If old reality wanted me back, it would have to actually destroy me because I wasn't going back voluntarily. What happened next was extraordinary. Within 72 hours, every pressure point began releasing. Not because I did anything to fix circumstances, because old reality recognized I wouldn't surrender. The relationship that ended cleared space for aligned connection that appeared within weeks. The financial crisis resolved through unexpected opportunity I couldn't have created. The health issue resolved itself once pressure lifted. The work situation transformed into opportunity that was perfect for new frequency. The squeeze wasn't trying to destroy me. It was testing whether I'd maintain new frequency under pressure. Once I proved I would, the squeeze released. Old reality recognized it couldn't possess me back. And new reality opened because I demonstrated I could maintain its frequency even in maximum pressure. That's what's available to you right now. You're in squeeze. You're feeling the pressure. You're considering surrender. But if you can recognize this is possession attempt, not personal failure. If you can maintain your frequency despite circumstances, demanding you lower it. If you can resist just a bit longer, breakthrough is inevitable. The squeeze only continues until old reality recognizes you won't surrender. Once it recognizes that, it must release you because you've proven you're no longer possessible. Subscribe to this channel as support for navigating quantum squeeze without surrendering. The pressure will make you doubt everything. You need ongoing transmission from those who have navigated squeeze successfully and know how to maintain frequency under maximum pressure. Every video here serves that purpose. Now, let me reveal exactly what tools old reality uses during quantum squeeze to attempt your possession. Once you recognize these tools, they lose much of their power because you can see them operating. Possession Tool 1, Doubt Through Comparison. Old reality shows you others who seem to have easier time, who didn't face this pressure, who succeeded without struggle. The comparison creates doubt. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I should follow their path instead. This tool works by making you question your unique journey and want to adopt someone else's proven path. Resistance. Your path is yours. Comparison is possession attempt through making you abandon what's uniquely aligned for you. Possession Tool 2, Fear Through Catastrophizing. Old reality amplifies worst-case scenarios. If you continue, you'll lose everything. You'll end up alone, broke, destroyed. The catastrophizing creates fear that makes surrender seem like survival necessity. This tool works by making future seem so threatening that staying in old frequency seems like only safety. Resistance. Fear is data showing misalignment. Catastrophic projections are possession tools, not accurate futures. Possession Tool 3, shame through should. Old reality activates internalized judgments. You should have normal life. You should do what's practical. You should stop being so weird, difficult, unrealistic. The shame creates pressure to conform to others' expectations. This tool works by making your authentic frequency expression seem wrong or embarrassing. Resistance. Should is always possession language. Your authentic frequency needs no justification. Possession tool for exhaustion through overwhelm. Old reality creates circumstances that drain energy from multiple directions simultaneously. Physical exhaustion, emotional depletion, mental fog. The overwhelm makes you too tired to resist possession. This tool works by reducing your capacity to maintain higher frequency through pure depletion. Resistance rest isn't surrender. Taking care of yourself while maintaining frequency commitment is strategic, not weak. Possession tool 5. Isolation through separation. Old reality removes support systems, creates distance from aligned people, makes you feel alone. The isolation makes squeeze feel unbearable without someone to share burden. This tool works by making you desperate for connection. You'll return to old frequency to obtain. Resistance. Temporary isolation is squeeze symptom, not permanent condition. Breakthrough reunites you with aligned community. Possession tool 6. Confusion through mixed messages. Old reality creates conflicting information, contradictory guidance, unclear direction. The confusion makes you doubt your discernment and seek external authority. This tool works by making you willing to accept old reality structure, because at least it's clear. Resistance. Confusion is temporary. Clarity returns once squeeze releases. Trust your inner knowing over external confusion. Possession tool 7. Nostalgia through better times. Old reality reminds you how easy, comfortable, safe things were before you started rising in frequency. The nostalgia creates desire to return to when life felt manageable. This tool works by making you forget why you left old frequency in the first place. Resistance. Old frequency felt safe because you were unconscious. New frequency feels challenging because you're conscious. Choose consciousness over comfort. Possession tool 8. Urgency through artificial deadlines. Old reality creates sense that you must decide now, surrender now, return now, or opportunity will be lost. The urgency prevents you from waiting for squeeze to release naturally. This tool works by making you make fear-based decisions under pressure, rather than waiting for clarity. Resistance. Real opportunities don't require fear-based urgency. If choice feels pressured, it's possession attempt. Every tool is designed to make you contract back to old frequency. And they're all operating during squeeze. But once you recognize them as possession tools rather than legitimate concerns, their power decreases. You're not wrong for experiencing doubt, fear, shame, exhaustion, isolation, confusion, nostalgia, or urgency. You're experiencing organized resistance from old reality, attempting to reclaim you. Recognizing the tools allows you to resist the possession they're designed to create. Let's identify specific signs that breakthrough is close, even though squeeze is intense. These signs prove you're winning, not losing, even when pressure makes it feel otherwise. Sign 1. Pressure reached peak and plateaued. Squeeze doesn't keep intensifying forever. It reaches maximum and holds there. If pressure has plateaued at unbearable but survivable level, that's sign you're at breakthrough threshold. The plateau is old reality, applying maximum sustainable pressure while waiting for you to surrender. Sign 2. Can't go back even if you wanted to. You've crossed a point where returning to old frequency feels impossible, even though staying in squeeze feels unbearable. Old life doesn't appeal anymore. even as escape from pressure. This is sign you've actually shifted frequency beyond point of no return. You can't be possessed back because you're no longer compatible with old reality. Sign 3. Unexpected calm in the storm. Moments of inexplicable peace despite circumstances remaining chaotic. Brief windows where pressure lifts and you feel certainty that everything will resolve. These windows are preview of post-breakthrough reality. Breaking through the squeeze. The calm isn't denial. It's new reality bleeding through old realities, resistance. Sign 4. Synchronicities continue despite chaos. Meaningful coincidences still occurring even though everything else feels blocked. Numbers appearing. Information arriving from multiple sources. Perfect timing in small things. This proves field is still guiding you. The synchronicities confirm you're still on path, even though path feels impossibly difficult. Sign 5. Dreams showing resolution. Nighttime dreams where problems resolve, circumstances align or breakthrough occurs. The dreams are consciousness accessing post-breakthrough timeline that already exists. Your dream visiting the reality we're about to break into. Sign 6. Sudden insights about squeeze's purpose. Recognizing why specific pressures are present and what they're revealing about remaining attachments to old frequency. The insights prove consciousness is expanding even under squeeze. Understanding squeeze's purpose is sign you're metabolizing pressure instead of being destroyed by it. Sign 7. Less reactive to possession tools. Doubt, fear, shame, exhaustion still present but not controlling your choices anymore. You're recognizing them as possession tools and continuing anyway. Decreased reactivity proves you're building immunity to old reality's influence. Sign 8. Found this video at this moment. The fact that this transmission reached you during peak squeeze is itself sign that breakthrough is close. The field doesn't deliver how to navigate squeeze information unless navigation is actually possible. If breakthrough wasn't imminent, you'd either still be unconscious of squeeze or you'd have already surrendered. Sign 9. Body symptoms shifting. Physical pressure changes quality. Maybe moves from chest to head. Maybe intensity fluctuates. Changes in physical symptoms indicate body is recalibrating to new frequency rather than just suffering under old reality's pressure. Shifting symptoms prove biological breakthrough is processing. Sign 10. Old patterns losing appeal. Behaviors that used to provide relief during pressure, substances, distractions, numbing, they're not working anymore or don't appeal. This proves you've outgrown old frequencies, coping mechanisms. The loss of appeal is sign you're ready for new reality's resources. Sign 11. Increased intolerance for inauthenticity. Can't pretend anymore. Can't fake interest in things that don't matter. Can't engage with surface-level interactions. The intolerance proves your frequency is too high for old reality's games. You're becoming allergic to anything that's not authentic. Sign 12. Time distortion. Intensifying. Days disappearing faster. Moments stretching infinitely. Complete temporal confusion. This proves you're between timelines. Old reality linear time and new reality nonlinear time are both pulling on you. The distortion is confirmation you're at threshold between them. Sign 13. Others avoiding you. People unconsciously creating distance because your frequency makes them uncomfortable. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because your raised frequency triggers their unprocessed material. The avoidance confirms you're vibrating beyond collective baseline. Sign 14. Reading. This feels like permission. This transmission giving you permission to resist possession. To trust that squeeze means breakthrough is close. to maintain frequency despite pressure. That permission landing as relief proves you needed validation that you're not crazy. The relief confirms squeeze is real, breakthrough is close, and resistance is appropriate response. If you're experiencing 10+ signs, breakthrough is imminent. Maximum squeeze doesn't last forever. It reaches peak intensity right before release. You're at that peak now. The question isn't whether breakthrough will come. The question is, will you maintain frequency long enough to receive it? Here's the urgency. Right now, in this moment of peak squeeze, you have maximum motivation to resist possession. The pressure gives you clear enemy to fight against. But if pressure continues and you don't break through soon, exhaustion will make surrender increasingly appealing. Use this moment while resistance is still strong to commit. Absolutely. I will not surrender to possession. I will maintain frequency until breakthrough comes. That commitment made at peak pressure is what carries you through. Now let's talk about practical survival. How to maintain frequency during squeeze without surrendering to possession. There are 3 non-negotiable practices. Implement all 3 or squeeze will eventually break you. Non-negotiable 1. Daily frequency anchoring every single morning before engaging with circumstances. Anchor yourself in new frequency, 5 to 10 minutes minimum. This isn't optional meditation. This is survival practice. How? Sit quietly. Remember the frequency you're claiming. Peace, trust, power, whatever it is. Feel it in your body, regardless of circumstances. Declare, I maintain this frequency regardless of pressure. This daily anchoring gives you frequency baseline to return to when squeeze threatens to pull you down. Non-negotiable 2. Relentless reframing. Every time you notice yourself thinking, I'm failing. This is too hard. I can't do this. Stop and reframe. Reality is squeezing me because I'm breaking free. This pressure proves I'm winning. The intensity means breakthrough is close. Reframe constantly, dozens of times daily. Squeeze succeeds through making you interpret pressure as personal failure. Reframing interrupts that interpretation and replaces it with accurate understanding. Non-negotiable 3. Strategic non-engagement. Don't try to solve every problem squeeze creates. Don't fix every crisis. Don't respond to every pressure point. That's trap. Squeeze creates problems faster than you can solve them specifically to exhaust you. Instead, identify what absolutely must be addressed and let everything else be unresolved. The non-engagement isn't giving up. It's refusing to play squeeze's game. Old reality wants you frantically fixing problems. You maintain frequency by choosing what deserves energy and releasing everything else. These 3 practices work together. Morning anchoring establishes baseline frequency. Constant reframing maintains perspective under pressure. Strategic non-engagement conserves energy. Without all 3, squeeze will find weakness and exploit it. Here, that's what makes survival possible. Squeeze has limits. Old reality can only apply certain amount of pressure before it must release or actually destroy you. And destruction isn't its goal. Possession is its goal. It wants you back in old frequency, not dead. So, it applies maximum pressure that's survivable but unbearable, hoping you'll surrender to relieve discomfort. If you can maintain frequency through that maximum pressure, old reality recognizes this consciousness can't be possessed, and it must release you. The practice is endurance, not passive suffering, active resistance. Every day you maintain frequency despite pressure is day closer to breakthrough. Every time you reframe instead of despair is victory. Every strategic non-engagement is refusal to exhaust yourself in squeeze's game. You're not trying to escape squeeze, you're proving you can't be possessed by it. And here's what shifts everything. The moment you stop trying to make squeeze end and start seeing how long you can maintain frequency despite squeeze, your relationship with pressure changes. You're no longer victim, waiting for circumstances to improve. You're warrior, proving you can handle whatever reality throws at you. That shift from victim to warrior is what allows breakthrough to occur. Write in the comments, "I maintain my frequency because declaring this creates accountability." The squeeze will test that commitment. Having made it publicly strengthens your resolve when pressure makes you want to surrender privately. Let's talk about what actually happens when you navigate squeeze successfully without surrendering. What you become after proving you can maintain new frequency under maximum pressure from old reality attempting possession. Transformation 1. Unshakable frequency stability. After surviving squeeze, your frequency becomes remarkably stable. Circumstances that would have destabilized you before barely register. You've proven to yourself that you can maintain frequency under worst pressure. Everything after squeeze is easier because you've already handled maximum difficulty. The stability isn't confidence. It's demonstrated capacity. Transformation 2. Immunity to old reality's pull. Once you resist possession successfully, old reality recognizes you as no longer possessible. It stops trying to squeeze you back because it knows you won't return. You're free. Not through avoiding old reality, but through proving old reality can't reclaim you. The immunity is earned through resistance. Transformation 3. Access to resources old frequency couldn't reach. New reality opens after squeeze releases. Opportunities that didn't exist in old frequency become available. Relationships that couldn't form at old frequency appear. Capabilities you couldn't access before activate. The resources aren't reward for suffering. They're natural features of frequency level you've stabilized in transformation. Transformation 4. Ability to guide others through squeeze. Having navigated it yourself, you can recognize when others are being squeezed. And you can help them understand that pressure means breakthrough, not failure. Your experience becomes service. The navigation you completed becomes map you can share. Transformation 5. Deep trust in process. You know experientially that maximum pressure precedes breakthrough. Future squeezes can occur at new levels as you continue rising. They don't create same panic because you've seen, survived squeeze, got breakthrough, maintained frequency, received liberation. The trust isn't faith. It's pattern recognition from direct experience. Transformation 6. Relationship with pressure transforms. Pressure stops being enemy and becomes information. When new pressure appears, you recognize, I'm approaching another breakthrough. Instead of fearing squeeze, you know it signals evolution. The relationship shift makes pressure navigable rather than overwhelming. Transformation 7. Manifestation from new frequency. What you create from post-squeeze frequency is qualitatively different than what you could create before. It's more aligned, more authentic, more sustainable because you're creating from frequency you proved you can maintain under pressure. Pre-squeeze manifestations often collapse because they were created from unstable frequency. Post-squeeze creations last because foundation is proven stable. Transformation 8. Community of squeeze navigators. You naturally connect with others who have survived their own squeezes. There's recognition between beings who have resisted possession successfully. The community isn't based on shared interests, but shared initiation. You're part of minority who chose breakthrough over surrender. Transformation 9. Freedom from need for external validation. After proving to yourself, you can maintain frequency when everything external demands you lower it. External validation becomes irrelevant. You know what you can handle. You know what you're capable of. Others' opinions can't shake that knowledge. The freedom isn't arrogance. It's certainty from tested capacity. Transformation 10. Living proof of what's possible. Your life becomes demonstration that breakthrough is achievable, that old reality's possession can be resisted, that maintaining new frequency under pressure is possible. You're not just teaching possibility theoretically. You're embodying it practically. That embodiment serves collective by showing the squeeze can be survived. These transformations aren't guaranteed rewards. They're natural results of surviving squeeze without surrendering. The struggle wasn't random difficulty. It was initiation. And what you become through successful initiation is fundamentally different than what you were before. Not better, different. Frequency shifted in a way that can't be reversed. Now we arrive at deepest truth about quantum squeeze. The understanding that makes everything else make complete sense. Are you ready? The quantum squeeze isn't random pressure. It's organized test. Old reality applying specific challenges, designed to reveal whether you can maintain new frequency when circumstances demand you lower it. And this isn't arbitrary difficulty. This is final examination before reality releases you from old frequencies' structure and allows you into new frequencies' territory. Here is what most people don't understand. Reality functions like a security system. Frequencies below a certain threshold can exist within the old reality structure without challenge. But when consciousness tries to rise above that threshold, the system activates a testing protocol. Why? Because allowing consciousness into a higher frequency without testing causes instability. If you reach a new frequency but cannot maintain it under pressure, you will oscillate between frequencies, creating chaos in the reality field. The squeeze is reality's way of confirming. Can this consciousness maintain the new frequency stably, or will it collapse back under pressure? The test is necessary before release because reality needs to know you won't destabilize the new frequency layer by entering it prematurely. The squeeze isn't trying to break you. It's testing whether you are breakable. Think about it. If you transition to a new frequency without being tested, the first significant challenge in that frequency would destabilize you. You'd collapse back to the old frequency, then try to rise again, collapse again repeatedly. That oscillation disturbs the reality field. The squeeze prevents this by testing you before transition instead of after. It is quality control, verification that you're stable enough to maintain the new frequency. This is why the squeeze is so precisely calibrated. Maximum pressure that's survivable but unbearable. If the pressure were too light, you'd pass without proving capacity. If too heavy, it would destroy instead of test. The perfect calibration, just barely survivable, proves that if you survive it, you can maintain the new frequency under any realistic pressure after breakthrough. The key is recognizing the squeeze's end is a pass-fail result of this test. If you maintain frequency until reality recognizes you can't be broken or possessed back, you pass. The squeeze releases. The new frequency opens. The old reality releases its hold because the test is complete and you have demonstrated capacity. But if you surrender, if you contract back to the old frequency to relieve pressure, you fail. Not permanently, but this test cycle ends with return to the old frequency. You'll have to build back up and face the squeeze again later. Here's the crucial understanding. You don't beat the squeeze, you endure it. Victory isn't defeating pressure. It's maintaining frequency while pressure does everything possible to make you lower it. You win by not surrendering, not by making pressure stop. Reality releases you when it confirms you're stable, not when you prove strength, but when you prove you're unbreakable. And here's what changes everything. Once you know the squeeze is a test, not punishment, you can reframe your entire experience. You're not suffering random difficulty. You're taking the final exam before graduation to a new frequency. The pressure confirms you're ready to test. The intensity confirms the stakes are real. Endurance is the only passing grade. The practice shifts from, how do I make this stop, to how long can I maintain frequency despite this? From trying to end the test to proving you can pass it. From victim of circumstances to candidate under examination. That reframing transforms the squeeze from unbearable suffering into a difficult but meaningful challenge with clear purpose and definite end. One more truth. The squeeze ends the moment reality confirms your stability. Not when you've suffered enough, not when you've learned a lesson, but when you demonstrate that pressure can't possess you back into the old frequency. That confirmation happens when you stop wondering if you should surrender and start knowing. I maintain this frequency regardless of what pressure does. That knowing is what reality tests for. Once it detects that knowing, the test is complete. You're in the squeeze. Reality is testing you. The test has one question. Can you maintain the new frequency when everything demands you lower it? Your endurance is your answer. If your answer is yes, maintained through actual endurance, not just intention, reality has no choice but to release you into the new frequency you've proven you can inhabit. What you need to understand now is that your successful squeeze navigation doesn't just affect you. It affects the collective capacity for breakthrough. Your endurance matters more than you realize. Here's why. Every individual who successfully navigates the squeeze creates a morphic resonance pattern that makes squeeze navigation easier for others. The first consciousness to resist possession and breakthrough faced maximum difficulty because no pattern existed. Each subsequent breakthrough strengthens the pattern. Your endurance during this squeeze contributes to making squeeze survivable for thousands who come after you. When you maintain frequency despite maximum pressure, you prove to the reality field that consciousness can stabilize at the new frequency. That proof creates precedent. Reality recognizes if this consciousness maintains stability, others at similar frequency can too. Your individual breakthrough contributes to reality becoming more accommodating of higher frequencies. Generally, you're not just liberating yourself, you're creating possibility for others. But there's more. When you're in the squeeze and others in your field range, people you know, interact with, or are connected to through the unified field, are observing your navigation consciously or unconsciously, your endurance affects them. If you surrender, they unconsciously receive the message. Squeeze is too powerful to resist. If you maintain frequency, they receive the message. Squeeze can be survived. Your choice during squeeze teaches everyone connected to you what's possible. Think about the implications. Collective consciousness has operated at relatively low frequency because higher frequencies trigger squeeze and most surrender rather than endure. This creates a collective pattern. Don't rise too high or reality will crush you. But when enough individuals navigate squeeze successfully, that pattern breaks. A new collective pattern emerges. Squeeze is survivable, breakthrough is achievable, higher frequencies are maintainable. Your navigation contributes to that pattern shift. You're not just one person handling a personal challenge. Your consciousness participates in collective evolution, from low-frequency stability with no squeeze but no growth, to high-frequency capacity where squeeze occurs but breakthrough is possible. Your endurance demonstrates to the collective field that transformation beyond the old frequency is achievable. This is why squeeze is so important. It's not just a personal test, it's a collective initiation. Each successful navigation proves to reality and collective consciousness that higher frequencies are stable. Each proof makes the next breakthrough easier. You're building a ladder others will climb. Your endurance creates the rungs. The collective impact is an automatic byproduct. When you maintain frequency for yourself, a pattern is created for others. When you resist possession for your own freedom, precedent is set for collective breakthrough. The service happens through your personal navigation. You don't have to try to help the collective. Your successful squeeze navigation is the help. Write in the comments, "My endurance serves the whole not as pressure, but as recognition." You're not alone in the squeeze. You're part of the wave. The wave is proving to reality that consciousness can stabilize at frequencies the old reality couldn't accommodate. Your navigation matters beyond your individual breakthrough. We are completing this transmission, but your navigation of the quantum squeeze continues. You need practice that maintains frequency during ongoing pressure until reality releases you. Here, ask what you do. Squeeze resistance practice twice daily minimum, morning and evening. Takes 5 minutes each time. This isn't optional if you want to navigate squeeze successfully. Step 1. Acknowledge current pressure for 60 seconds. Name what's squeezing you, all the circumstances applying pressure. Don't minimize or deny. Acknowledge fully. This is intense, this is difficult, this is the squeeze. Step 2. Reframe as test, not punishment for 60 seconds. Shift interpretation. This pressure is reality testing whether I can maintain the new frequency. The squeeze proves I'm ready for breakthrough. The intensity means I'm passing the final test before release. Step 3. Anchor in new frequency for 90 seconds. Feel the frequency you're claiming regardless of circumstances. Peace, power, trust, whatever it is. Embody it while acknowledging pressure. You're not pretending pressure doesn't exist. You're maintaining frequency despite it. Say internally, "I maintain this frequency regardless of what reality does to test me." Step 4. Declare resistance to possession for 90 seconds. State clearly, "I will not surrender to this squeeze. I will not contract back to the old frequency. I maintain the new frequency until reality recognizes I'm stable and releases me. I resist possession completely." Practice this twice daily until squeeze releases. Morning preparation for the day's pressure, evening processing of the day's challenges, and renewal of commitment to maintain frequency through the next day. Track your endurance. How many days can you maintain frequency despite maximum squeeze? Each day is victory. Each maintained frequency choice is passing moment of the test. You're not trying to make squeeze end. You're proving you can maintain stability until reality confirms you're stable enough to release. Now, critical action. Write one word in the comments. Word that represents your new frequency. The frequency you're maintaining despite squeeze's pressure. That word is your anchor. When squeeze intensifies and you're tempted to surrender, remember that word. It returns you to frequency you've committed to maintaining. Subscribe to this channel as ongoing support for squeeze navigation. Pressure will make you doubt. You need continued transmission from those who have survived squeeze and know it can be endured. Every video here serves frequency maintenance under pressure. And final piece video on screen is next transmission for post-squeeze consciousness. You're navigating squeeze now. That video shows you what becomes possible once you break through. Watching it creates vision that makes endurance meaningful. You're not the same consciousness that started this video. You now understand pressure isn't punishment. It's test. Squeeze isn't failure. It's final examination, and maintaining frequency despite maximum pressure is how you pass. The quantum squeeze is real. The possession attempt is active, but your resistance is succeeding. Every day you maintain frequency is day closer to breakthrough. Every reframe is refusal to be possessed. Every moment you choose new frequency over old relief is victory. Reality is squeezing you because you're breaking free. The pressure proves you're winning. Maintain your frequency. Resist the possession. Endure the test. Breakthrough is inevitable for consciousness that won't surrender. And you've proven already by being here, by recognizing squeeze, by committing to resistance. Your consciousness that won't surrender. The squeeze will end. The test will complete. The breakthrough will come. Your only job is maintaining frequency until reality confirms this consciousness is stable, and that confirmation is coming because you're proving it every day. You endure the quantum squeeze is happening, and you're surviving it. That survival is your breakthrough in process. Maintain, resist, endure. Victory is inevitable for the unbreakable, and you're becoming unbreakable right now.